Well, a very good evening, everybody, and welcome to Thursday night. It's Delta T Racing, and we are, for the last time this week, coming from Monaco. It's been an event-filled week so far. Not many safety cars, but then there aren't many safety cars that do come out at Monaco. Seems to be a glitch of the game. We do have it on the higher level. But we are still not seeing it very often come out. But anyway, back to tonight. We are here from Monaco for Division 5, as I say, the final event this week after we've had Divisions 1 and 3 on Tuesday, 2 and 4 yesterday. Today, obviously, Division 5 will round out the week before we head off to Monza next week in Italy. So, jumping on board with Crudo. I think he's the first one out, so I do like to stay on board with him. We'll do a few outside shots. But coming into the championship, last week's winner, Hanslbua, giving himself a 12-point lead at the top of the championship now. Kurznikov, sorry, I keep saying that name wrong, but second in with 86 points, so 12 points behind. Then we have an 18-point back gap to Havoc in third place. Skipper doing very well in fourth place as well with 58 points. So 40 points off of the championship lead. We are marking the halfway stage today. So obviously completion of this race, round number 6, so takes us into the second half of the season. So an awful lot more points to be played for, especially with a couple of sprint races as well. One coming up in a couple of weeks at Silverstone, and we have another one in Canada, I think it is, off the top of my head. Penultimate race of the season. So anyway, jumping on board with Crudon now, coming up to turn number 1. Cut the corner just nicely there, could have a bit more. So it really is flat out around this corner. Then we are hard down here, hard onto the brakes as we turn right. This is round the Mirabeau. We're now heading down towards the hairpin, Grand Hotel hairpin as it is known but often forgotten, into Portier, and we'll be through into the tunnel section. See what his split time is when it comes up, but heading down now towards the Nouvelle Chicane. Good exit there to back here, just a slight lift to drop down in gear and then back full onto the throttle through the swimming pool section, or Pistine as it is known, up to La Rascasse. And Anthony Nodges is the name of that penultimate corner, and onto the start finish line. So we'll see what time Crudot is going to set down for us, and it's going to be a 1:12.7, so not a bad benchmark to be fair. I can see that absolutely tumbling, but it will do as we get quicker. Baldi putting in a 12.731 there and immediately slowing down to get out of the way. Who's next round? I think it might be MBB. Is indeed, puts in a 14.3. So currently slowest of all the times set, and has now invalidated his next lap as well. Who shall we jump on board with? Let's try and catch someone that's actually on a lap. Championship leader Hans. We'll jump with him for the moment. Coming down to the hotel hairpin. A very, very technical track, Monaco. It's hard enough as it is without the fact that you've got these barriers and walls. And also the fact that obviously it's renowned for not being able to overtake on, so strategy is key here. Hands turning in, so takes that well, probably a bit more onto the throttle a bit earlier coming out of that exit, drops it down 2 gears there. And there's a bit more time to find through there. And a small lift and brake through here. Throttle, and this again is such a difficult corner, this last one, to get right, because you're trusting your turning but you're not going to hit the wall. But Hanslbua now coming across to sort of 12.2, putting himself up into third place. So without me watching, Phantom is in the 11s with 11.907. And Xernikov has come up just behind him as well. So Nerdy just finishing his lap, 14.3, but gets himself onto the board. It looks like Frax is the only person out at the moment. Everybody else has either set a time or is in the pit, so they'll be on their return to the pits. This is just an out lap for Frax, trying to get his tyres obviously as hot as he possibly can. We'll have a nice clear track in front of him, which always helps if you've not got anything in your eye line. And here we go. Didn't last long, so hopefully he'll get that straightened up, but it's seriously going to affect his lap time if he can actually get himself out. So Baldy just behind there, slipping through up into 5th place. I'm just running as Frax managed to. He has managed to get himself around now, so he may still be able to set a lap. I'm not sure if he's got any damage though. Let's have a look to see if he has any front wing damage. He doesn't, so I mean, just absolutely losing it coming out of the final turn, just getting on the throttle a little bit easy, a bit too keen to get that qualifying lap underway, and well, ended up staring at the way he just come from. But anyway, he is now on a lap, I believe. Certainly is using his ERS down to 79%. So yeah, he is still going for a lap here. Let's see what sort of time he can pop in. Obviously going to lose a good few tenths of a second with that spin. Just wouldn't have got the car up to the normal speed, and there goes the front wing. So that is pretty much the end of that lap, I would say, for Frax. Going to clip the wall there as well. So that was well out the way by one of the Haas there. Okay. So Kieran on an out lap. We have Prize Phantom on an out lap. Who is going to be the first to set another lap? Because I'd like to jump on with somebody. Skipper's on an out lap, is he? Yep. Right, I'm going to stay with Prize then, because he is now coming round to start his second attempt. Obviously 11.907, currently 0.051 clear of Kersnikov in second. So we'll just run through the grid, because I'm sure there's people that I haven't mentioned yet tonight. Just get the stream up as well to make sure everything is working as it should. Okay, we are go. So right, okay, so Prize coming around on his second attempt. Not sure, it looks like he's pulled out the speed that he's going. He has indeed. He needs to turn his ERS off and recharge if he's going for another run. Can't see any damage, so I think it was just a mistake there. Nuno coming across the line, 17.190. I think he's just starting his fast lap. Yeah, so he is next across the line. Who are we going to have? I think it's Frax coming out of the pit. So his teammate Ralph, 10th place with a 13.938. Be interesting to see if his teammate gets out of the way, which he does. Slight bit of lag there from Ralph. Never ideal when you're racing, certainly around Monaco. Okay, next up, the Prize has just crossed the line, so he'll be going on to give it another go now. I'm just going to jump with Skipper to see if he can improve on 9th place. 13.6, he does. 12.8, so improves by 8 tenths of a second now. Hanslbua up at the front now, 11.366, taking a 0.6 lead over Phantom, and I think Phantom is now on his lap, so he's a 10th of a second down on his best so far. So currently 7/10 down on Hans. Sorry I missed that, Hans. It looks like a cracking lap, to be honest. 11.3. Is behind the car, nicely getting out of the way. I have to admit, everybody has been very well behaved and moved out of the way here so far. Don't want to tempt fate, but I certainly haven't caught any issues, so Prize is going to give up on those. Hanslbua will be coming round into the pits after setting a time 0.6 quicker. I mean, we had a time yesterday, I think it was it 0.8 quicker than anybody else by Renzi in Division 4? Doesn't necessarily mean you're going to run away with it in the race, though. I think he probably would have done it had it not been for a safety car. Composite improve into a 13.6 there, so up into 11th place. Who else do we have? MBB is on an outlap. Jurek has just improved up to 13.201, so up into 10th place. What else do we have coming towards the end of a lap? Chef JB looks like he coming towards the end. He's not got a lot of BRS. 13.916 moves into 13th place, so an improvement there by Chef. And next, it looks like one of the Ferraris, which I think is composite on a slowdown lap, which it is. MBB will be behind him, just about to start his next lap. So looking at Jurek, who again is low on ERS, so he'll be coming in. Is on an outlap. Where is his teammate? Nuno is down here, just coming towards the end, has invalidated, so he's coming in eventually to the pits. So anybody out? Prize is on an outlap. Is Baldy on a lap? He is not, but he is now. The Baldy will be the next one to set a lap time. We'll keep an eye on him. Is that Havoc on a lap as well? So yeah, so we've got a few of the top of the table contenders now are going out for probably going to be their final run, to be honest, unless they make a mistake and get a chance to come into the pits and change. Otherwise, this is pretty much going to be their final run. So Baldy into the tunnel section now. Going down towards Nouvelle Chicane. Obviously, he's taken quite a few casualties over the years. I remember Jensen Button crashing there quite severely. I think he missed the race the next day because of it. Obviously, he's changed a lot over the years, become a lot safer, but it is still a treacherous racetrack. Well, in the game, let alone in real life. And Baldy making a mistake there, going straight on at Anthony Nodges. So that is the end of that lap. He will still have time, I think, if he jumps into the pits to put a fresh nose and fresh set of tyres on and have another go. So who do we have? Right, Prize Phantom. How is he getting on at the top? 11.9 still. So didn't improve on that lap. Next over we have Kieran. 15.2, so 15th place there for Kieran. Jump on with MBB, although I think he probably wished I hadn't at that moment in time. Again, I think he might just have enough time to get into the pits. So anyone on a lap? Kieran, 2/10, nearly 3/10 up on his time currently, although it's not going to improve him in position, although time-wise it will. I'm currently sitting in 15th, 1.3 seconds behind 14th place. So a yellow flag waving. I think that's just for people slowing down. I hope they are going to jump out of the way. Left-hand side, good, good. And here's where we had a bit of an accident yesterday. Kieran now coming through to the last two turns. Really a little bit late on the brakes there. A bit tighter on the turn in there. Get on that throttle nice and early, so we'll see what he can improve his time to. It'll be a 14.9. So a 0.3.5 improvement for Kieran, but I think he's certainly got a lot more time in there. Just needs to have a bit more confidence in his turning. Nuno behind now is on a lap. I don't think Price... It does look like Price is on a lap. So he's... How many laps has he done on those tyres? Yeah, he's already done 2 laps, so it looks like he's giving it a... Saved up his ERS and giving it one final shot, not trusting that he's got enough time to come in, put a fresh set on and get out again. Certainly traffic is going to be paramount in the closing stages here. So Price now coming down into the start finish line, and a 1:10.943 gives him current pole position. That is a cracking time from Price Phantom there, putting himself on provisional pole by 0.4 of a second, which he will not be beaten by Hanslbua because he is still in the pits. Who is next likely to get near him, which is Havoc coming across the line now. He does not improve. Zernikov is down on his time, so he doesn't look like improving either. No, he doesn't. So Baldi is next. He's invalidating, so he will not be improving. Skipper is 10 seconds down again, not improving. 16 seconds to get to. I don't think he's going to make it. I don't think Skipper is going to make the start-finish line. Ralph just behind has a similar situation, but spins. Krudor slight tap of the wall there, just coming into his final 2, hoping that Ralph managed to get out of the way, which he has done. So Krudor, what can he do? Currently 5th with a 1:12.4. Moves up to 4th with a 1:12.225. Next coming through we have Havoc. I haven't seen his time as to where he is. Skipper now, or Chef JB. Who's next? Sorry, Mighty Frax in the 15th. So the only person left on track to consider time is Skipper in 9th place, but that's a mighty lap from Price Phantom there, 1:10.943. I believe he did very well last week. Unfortunately, I missed the race at Imola, but I believe he did very well. He certainly had a win in the sprint race. I think it was pole position as well. So he's certainly finding himself a little bit of pace as we head into the second half of the season. But Hanslbua, Aussie Championship leader, still in there as well. So Skipper does improve on time but not on position, and that brings to the close qualifying at Monaco, which is so important for the race. And Price Phantom putting himself in pole position quite literally to have a good race. So Price Phantom taking pole position, Hanslbua in 2nd. Then we have Kurznikov in 3rd, Krudor in 4th, MBB in 5th. Havoc on a 6th, 7th is BV Baldy in 8th, Ralph Albers 9th, Skipper And running out the top 10, we have Dr. Scenic Kitchen. Then Nerdy, having a quiet. I didn't see much of Nerdy during qualifying. Hopefully I'll catch up with him during the race a little bit more. But bringing it home in 11th there. Durek 12th, 13th Composite, 14th is Chef JB, 15th the Mighty Frack, 16th Kieran Trollface, and 17th is P20 Nuno Rod. So we're now going to get ready, fingers crossed, for the race.
Welcome along then to race day at what we hope will be another thrilling Formula One Grand Prix. 3.1 miles of track at Imola featuring 19 turns, 9 to the right and 10 to the left. Remember that Imola differs from most other Formula One tracks as it's taken anti-clockwise. Let's hope nobody forgets that today. The exit from turn 18 will probably be the setup for many of today's overtakes, leading as it does into the longest straight on the circuit and its only DRS zone.
Well, welcome back everybody. We're just waiting those final few seconds now for the drivers to get their setups correct for the race. I'm not 100% sure what we have with regards to weather. I haven't seen any reports on that yet, but I have to admit I haven't really been looking at Discord, which I'll have a quick look at now. Okay, no mention of the weather there. Right, details up, just position change we have at the beginning there. Chef JB being disqualified with the Mighty Frax there, obviously for a bit of contact on the formation lap. And just having a look, it does look like it's going to be a dry session, which is probably a godsend to the majority of the drivers here, obviously suffering that horrendous season last year where it was just wet at every single race. But let's jump on and have a look at tyres as well, just to see what everybody has started on. So we have the top two prize and hands on the mediums. Kurznikov going for the hards and everybody else going mediums, other than Chef JB and the Mighty Frax, who, to be honest, they've got on hards, they've been disqualified. I mean, they were hard enough trying warming those tyres up anyway, let alone when you're sitting there on the grid getting them absolutely freezing cold. So we have 3 people on hards, everybody else on mediums. I think strategy is very dependent on safety car. It can make or break it for you. So here we are back to the start grid. There's the 2 cars of Chef and Frax sitting on the grid with freezing cold tyres, and we have a spinner already. Is that Havoc? Has Connor decided to have a spin? Oh no, it's MBB. MBB doing really well up into 5th place there. Let's give a shout out to him as well. He's been playing in goal for the FIFA team and has done an awesome job. But right, okay, we are got absolute rubbish picture, but we are lights out and away we go at Monaco, and it's a cracking start by Hands, not very good by Prize Phantom on the inside there, just keeping an eye back, see if there's any contact. Looks like it has been pretty clean through the opening corner. So back at the front, Prize maintains that lead from Hanslbua. Kurznikov maintaining his 3rd place off of the start. We have a bit of a spinner at the back. Skipper has been involved with his teammate Composite, and we have Three stationary cars at the back. Right, there's a lot of catching up for them to do. No safety car, thankfully, that has been averted. But Prize and Hanslbua are getting on with it, already pulling a second clear of Kurznikov on the opening lap. Oh, tap off the wall there. I'm not sure if that would have caused any wing damage. It looks like he's got away with it. He might have some light damage, but certainly nothing showing on the exterior of the car. So as we come around to complete lap 1, Prize Phantom takes the opening lap of the Monaco Grand Prix with the fast lap 1:19.458. Hanslbua had a cracking start, but just couldn't get round that first corner before Prize. And Prize looking very comfortable now, pulling out. We have Kieran into the pits. The composite, yeah, will overtake. There's the skipper come into the pits as well, which he does. We'll drop him to the back of the grid. So it's a recovery for him now. But Prize currently with a 2-second lead. So really has put the pedal to the metal in these early stages and looking at pulling out a gap on Hands, probably to make it a little bit more comfortable on himself. Do we have any gainers from the opening lap? Yeah, a few have made up a couple of positions. I mean, obviously the biggest losers are Ralph and Skipper, as they're being involved in incidents up at the top of Massenet. We'll jump back, but Hans now has pulled away from Kurznikov as well, as Kurznikov got any damage because he seems to be slower. He might have made a small mistake. Obviously, with everybody behind you, cannot get past. But so far, apart from as I say, it's a small incident involving both Ferraris and I think a Red Bull and another car up at the top of Massenet, it's been a fairly clean opening to this race. We've seen a few wall taps. I think that's inevitable here at Monaco, certainly lower down divisions. But I know Division 1 also struggled as well, had quite a few retirements. Okay, so gaps are opening up. Baldy is on the back of Crudon now. We'll be looking to try and make a move. Obviously with DRS now enabled, want to be as close as he can down that start finish line. Just try and get a better drag on him. It's so hard to overtake at Monaco. You either need a mistake or you nearly hit the wall there, or a opportunist move. Sometimes it comes off, sometimes it can take 1, 2 or quite a few cars out, but it's yeah, not conducive to fantastic race in Monaco, but it is obviously, it's the magic around Monaco, I think. So Havoc in 7th place, and keep an eye at the back as well, just to see people improving. Looks like Ralph has made a place up now ahead of Nuno, so making his recovery there. And Skipper, I noticed, got a penalty already. Was that because of contact? 10-second penalty. Wonder if that was because of multiple contacts, as some of that could potentially be removed at the end of the race. Right, as you just catching up on chat, looks like I had the wrong intro on. Thanks for pointing that out, Bogorowski. So hopefully you enjoyed Imola from last week, even though we were racing in Monaco. Okay, so back to the race. Price factor of still 2.6 seconds clear of Hanslbua. Looks like he has got that a little bit under control now. Kurznikov in third, 4.3 seconds back, and is starting to hold up the two guys behind them. Like MBB is closing in ever so slightly on them. So I think Kurznikov could soon become the cork in the bottleneck. But as we've seen so many times before, catching is one thing, passing is something completely different, especially at Monaco. Remember back to many races, 1992, Senna and Mansell. I think Mansell had the quicker tyres, the quicker car, was all over the back of Senna for about the last 10, 12 laps. Just could not get past him. We have a blue flag there, and looks like Baldi has collided with Kieran there. I'm not sure Kieran did too much wrong there, but we will have to wait for some footage to come out. Jurek into the pits, then jump back with Baldi. Don't know if he picked up any damage from that. Certainly lost some time to Dr. Scenic. Not sure who it was. I think it was Kieran, but as I say, I think Kieran tried to move over to the left as best he could. I say not going to judge on that, I only saw the end of it, but Mighty Frax will be the next to close up. So the closest we have on track at the moment is Crudor, who is half a second behind Kurznikov in third. Looks like MBB obviously dropping back a little bit now because of that small incident, but still in the hunt. So Crudor looks like he is saving his ERS. They're both pretty similar, I think, on the ERS, so it's not going to give anyone too much of an advantage. A penalty picked up by P20 Nuno Rod there. Certainly not going to help him raise up higher than 15th at the back there, so it's a 3 second penalty for him. So all of the gaps are starting to open up now. Baldi picking up a 3 second penalty there. It's not going to help him in his quest for a potential podium. Let's have a quick look at tyres again, because obviously that has changed a little bit. Not too much. We still have 3 on hards. Frax has left us at what's happened to Frax. I think Frax might have disconnected. So hopefully he can get himself back in again. So currently in the points. So I want to stay there if he can. Nerdy and opposite now, closing in on Frax, who is right behind Baldi. Baldi obviously with that spin, not sure if there was any contact with Nerdy. Baldi getting out of the way there. I think he must have damage on there. Yeah, he's got no front wing at all, so he's getting himself out of the way. That's very good to see. But I'm hoping that Frax can get himself back in. Currently in 9th position. So fingers crossed he can get himself back in. Right, okay, jumping back up. Crudon now nearly 2 seconds behind Kurznikov. Looks like we have certainly settled down on the grid. Prize, Phantom in the lead, nearly 3 seconds clear of Hans. Hans himself has a 4.5 second gap to Crudor, who's a 1.5 seconds clear of MBB. So we've got a few gaps opening there. Just notice Ralph. So very, very close now. So we'll keep an eye on these three, as this will be the closest battle that we have on track. So Jurek will obviously be looking at making up places after that early incident. Starting 12th on the grid, dropped down a couple of places, made his way back up again, currently 13th. So we've lost Kieran as well. What happened to Kieran? Okay, I can't see Kieran's car anywhere. But it looks like he was out in sector 3. I'm hoping that wasn't a retirement in the pits, but we'll wait to find out. So Prize losing a little bit of that lead. It's come down from sort of 2.5, 2.6 seconds by Hand. But it's just chipping away at it ever so slightly. Meanwhile, back in this battle for 11th. Ooh. Very close to the barrier there. I thought I was going to see a bit of carbon fibre flying up there, but we have a good battle going on between the AlphaTauri and the senior team of Red Bull, with the McLaren looking to pick up the pieces just behind. Kersnikov must have made a mistake, because that 1.5 gap that he had has completely gone. So Crudor a little bit late on the brakes there. Hopefully it has not caused him any wing damage. Doesn't look like it has, but you need to be so careful here, because there were people braking earlier because of the corners. You need to just brake even earlier. But luckily on this occasion it hasn't caused any damage. Keep an eye on Crudor, because I think he will close in, but Jurek is ever so impatient to get behind Ralph here, and I can see him in a minute probably poking his nose into somewhere, and then it's just a matter of whether both cars survive or not. But I might be completely wrong on that, but that's certainly what it looks like to me. We've also got a couple of little battles now with Nuno Rod holding up Skipper and Baldi. Baldi obviously on his fresh hards now after pitting for a new nose. But be looking at going nearly 30 laps on those tyres. I mean, it is doable, but they're just going to be slippy as hell towards the end. So, oh, it's happened at the front as well. Has Price got damage? He has lost his lead. Pretty much 2.5 seconds wiped out, 3 seconds completely wiped out. So I think he must have had a small off, and I'm missing absolutely everything today. But then with that, the gap is back out to 1.5 seconds. Okay, so we'll keep an eye on that, but I do wonder if Price is just starting to feel the edge drop off the those medium tyres. So we are lap 13, so I think we're approaching the pit window. I think sort of 13 to 18 for the medium runners and about lap 22 onwards for the hard runners. Skipper, literally, I think if he could drive through Nuno, he probably would have done now. Is he going to go for a move at the inside? Looked like he was going to go for a slight move there, a small tap on the back. Is he going to a bit more of an incident there? And oh, and there we go. Whose race is that ruined behind? Oh, Hans, excellent. And this isn't finished yet either. This is now getting silly. You've got the leader behind, you're racing like that, you take each other out. That's I understand frustration gets in, but that has now potentially ruined Hanslbua. Although he didn't seem to have any damage. I do wonder if he got away with that. If it was perhaps end on contact, he might have got away with that. But you've got to look behind you, gents. You would have had blue flags. You've got to look. But after all that, is now given Prize a very, very comfortable 7.5 second lead. The skipper is the next to come past it and need to let Hans through. So who is going to jump first on the medium? Looks like Hans is. That's probably a wise decision, especially after that incident. Give yourself some fresh tyres and go again. Our front nose cone as well, so he did have damage from that. Not ideal. Please, gents, always remember, look in your mirrors, look on the map. If you see a blue flag, it's obvious that you're being lapped. It's not there for fun, but potentially this could have ruined the race now for Hans. Obviously, it's already cost him about 7 seconds. Another 3 or 4 seconds there for the pit stop for a new nose cone. And he's going to come out just ahead of Nerdy. Nerdy needs to be patient here. He's side by side. Jesus. Okay. Nerdy obviously wanted to get the job done and get past as quick as he could, and he has managed to do that. Heart in the mouth moment there. So right, what we need to do, Hans unfortunately coming out behind Nerdy, that is going to inhibit his progress on trying to close that gap down to Prize. Prize obviously had that over 7.5 second gap on Hans when Hans came in. And I think unless Nerdy is lapping quickly, I'm not sure what tyres Nerdy's on, we'll find out. I think he's on the mediums, which he is. So we're soon going to get the rounds of pit stops. Phantom looks like he's continuing. Everyone's continuing so far. So I think it might have just been a couple of laps early for Hans, but obviously with that front wing damage, didn't have much of a choice. Would have lost so much time afterwards, and he makes the move around Nerdy then. Not sure. Might have been an element of after you there, you're on the quicker tyres, which I completely understand, and was very sporting from Nerdy if that was the case. But that now frees up Hans to go charging, or to try and just reduce that gap down as much as he possibly can between himself and Prize before Prize pits. We'll have a quick look to see. Currently 34.5 seconds behind, so we'll keep an eye on that. See if the gap does reduce. Okay, so Dr. Scenic now into the pits. Havoc Connor into the pits as well. Having a quiet race, Havoc. Haven't really had much to say about him. Obviously was there in the title fight. Still is. Had a quiet couple of races. And this one has not been the best for him so far. Comes out in 8th place behind Frax. But obviously with cars in front still needing to pit. So it looks like the gap is down to about 33 seconds now for the between Hans and Prize. So Hans is definitely on it. And Prize is into the pits. So let's see if Prize comes out. Krudor also pitting as well. Kuznetsov continuing. But on those hard tyres, obviously would do. Oh, that was close, MBB. Oh, MBB did hit him. Christ. So yeah, MBB losing his right end plate on the back of Prize as he came out of the pits there. Keep an eye on it. So Prize now going to want to get past MBB as quick as he can. Nerdy now into the pits as well. Been putting his fresh tyres on for the last 21. Still got 21 laps of this race left. MBB picking up a penalty there as well. So Prize being caught behind MBB is absolutely ideal for Hans. But unfortunately Hans is also caught behind Krudor. And Krudor has pitted. Prize Phantom at least now manages to jump past MBB as he comes into the pits. New front wing there. So Krudor will come round into really what is second place once Kuznetsov hits in the lead. But if you're looking at Hans, I mean, he's 2 seconds behind Krudor, who's 10 seconds behind the 12 seconds. So yeah, he's lost a further 5 seconds there. And so I think a lot of that was due to the pit stop time for a new nose cone. It was certainly quicker than Prize towards the end of that stint. Have a back marker coming up. Back marker is going to be Ralph, and Skipper has already been lapped. So Skipper there keeping with Hans. So it just goes to show he would have had the pace to do well today, but unfortunately it looks like the racing gods weren't on his side today. Krudor now extending his lead, nearly 4 seconds clear of Hans. I think Hans struggling to get some heat into those hard tyres early doors. And Baldy now all over the back of Chef JB, just getting a bit out of shape coming out of Portier there. Just getting on the power a little bit early to go through the tunnel, and unfortunately losing the back end ever so slightly. Just nudging Chef there. Just a slight difference in braking. But luckily no damage done, but certainly not a way you want to overtake somebody. Durrett picking up another 3-second time penalty. Durrett into the pits again for another nose cone. So Jurek has now been lapped, and is Skipper going to get ahead of him as well? It looks like he is. No, Skipper moves himself up into 14th place. Bit of torrid race for Skipper today. Both Ferraris not faring too well, but unfortunately, I'd say they would seem to be involved in first lap incident up at Massenet, and it's so difficult to recover at Monaco, especially without any safety cars. Kurznikov now pits, which means that Phantom is going to come through and retake the lead. Where is Kurznikov going to come out in relation to Crudor? Crudor has been caught behind a back marker. It's going to play nicely to Kurznikov. He's going to actually manage to jump him, which he does, pulls himself out into second place. Obviously now has a lap, oh Christ, of trying to warm his tyres up. So Crudor, if he has any aspiration to get that second position, needs to make the move now before those tyres get warm. And Crudor needs to defend for his life. So Ralph being a little bit of a hold up there, obviously, but trying to get to a position that you can actually let people past. That has helped Crudor just keep behind, but I still don't think he's going to be able to get his way past, unfortunately. Baldy is all over the back of Chef JB again. Hopefully there won't be any contact this time. Quick look at tyres. I just want to see how old everybody is. Crikey, Chef JB on 21 laps old. Hards should be coming in now, put himself onto the mediums and have a nice run into the end of the race, but that is why Baldy really wants to get past there on 13 lap old, so there's 8 lap difference in the tyres. Baldy will be taking his to the end, whereas Chef JB should be coming in soon, unless he can't take him to the end. No, he's coming in now, so that will be him on to mediums to give it a go for the last couple of laps. But right up here we have Crudor now 2 seconds behind Kurznikov, who is a long way behind Prize. Prize really has taken the bull by the horn today, nearly 11 and a half, well, just over 11 seconds clear of Kurznikov. 6 lap old Hards, I'm sure, will be looking comfortable up there, has enough that he could, to be honest, just ease off ever so slightly, but it's danger of easing off is that's when you make mistakes. Nerdy is now closing on to the back of Frax. Not sure if Frax is back with us. But Frax has pitted either way, so 22 lap old Hards. So he'll be going on to the mediums for his final stint. So current order, we have Prize Phantom in the lead, has been took dominant pole position, and Hans troubled him in sort of over the first lap, and you know, then started getting a bit of pace back a bit later on and was just drawing him in ever so slightly. But then it just seemed like Price just got this back under control again and just pulled the gap out at the front. Kurznikov has had decent pace all afternoon, and I think so. I mean, Hans having a little bit of an incident just in the tunnel section. I think it was tunnel section. But anyway, yeah, trying to overtake a back marker, unfortunately getting involved, losing a few seconds there, and it looks like it's dropped him 2 places in the race. Kurznikov jumped him, and also Krudor in the pit stops. So yeah, Hanslbua involved. MBB having a good race in 5th place. Got a penalty there. We'll have a look, see what they are a bit later in the race, but he's still doing very well to currently sit in 5th place. His teammate Havoc Connor behind him in 6th, also with a 3-second penalty now for excessive track limits. So to see Nick doing quite well there as well in 7th. Good to see him in the points. Has been there or thereabouts most of the season. Just had a few unlucky moments. Nerdy on the recovery path. Not been his season this year. He did really well last year. Was up there competing pretty much with the... Who did we have last year? I think it was the Alfa Romeo boys, who were totally dominant. But then we had Nerdy, who was the best of the rest, basically. But yeah, this year I think he missed a couple of races, and I just don't think luck has gone his way. So fingers crossed, going this second half of the season, things will pick up for him a little bit. Frax now on the mediums, 22 seconds behind Nerdy. We'll see if he's going to close that down, and if indeed he is in the cockpit. I still haven't seen that he returned, but I'll be honest, I haven't seen quite a lot today, so it's not surprising. Baldy having an eventful race, currently in 10th position. Closing in on the back of Frax now. Will look at trying to make that position and get himself an extra point. Composite just behind as well. 1.5 seconds behind. Be looking to try and recover, trying to at least get a point in for the Ferrari team after the early shenanigans. It'd be good at least if they can bring themselves a point home. Skipper now behind Chef J, but I'm just keeping my eye on the lead at the front as well, because I've noticed Kurznikov has taken a couple of seconds out of Prize over the last couple of laps. Now, I'm not sure if Prize made a small mistake or whether Kurznikov's pace is just that much quicker on the mediums. Kurznikov picking up a 3-second penalty there, so effectively the lead now back up to nearly 12 seconds. And he's only 2 seconds clear of Krudor behind. Hans looks like he might have settled for 4th place. So been one of those races for him, set a blistering pole position time, only for it itself to be eclipsed by Prize Phantom. So I mean, the 2 of those were way ahead of everybody else on the time. So Hans had the pace today, but unfortunately it just hasn't gone his way. But he will still walk away from here with the lead in the championship. So starting the second half of the season as championship leader. I think he'll be very, very hard to beat in the second half of the season, to be honest with you. If he, as long as he doesn't get too much bad luck, I think he would be my tip to actually carry this through. I know we've got some other fast drivers down there. Kurznikov is very, very reliable. Havoc can be very, very quick on his day as well. Nerdy, as we've spoken about before, just not having the best of seasons, but certainly has the pace and the ability in there. Skipper having a bad race today. He's normally up there fighting as well. So he's Still a long way to go, but I do think that Hans would probably be certainly my favourite at this moment. So lap number 29 of 39. So we have 10 laps plus the one that we are on. Skipper seems to be the closest on track at the moment, just within that 3/4 of a second of Chef JB. But getting past is so difficult. Prize now coming round the final couple of corners to start his 30th lap. So 10 laps left. It leads down to 7.7 seconds. So Kudor is, Kurznikov is certainly the quicker driver at the moment on the medium tyres. But a 7-second gap is a lot to close down in 10 laps. So he's really got to be hopeful that Prize makes a mistake. Dr. Scenic closing up. He's a second and a half behind Havoc. Keep an eye as to whether he can close that gap in. If anything, it seems to have extended by 1/3 of a second there, so we'll monitor it. But it's as I say, catching is one thing. I mean, Kurznikov got the gap nearly down to under the 7 seconds there. And who have we lost? We've lost Jurek. Where did Jurek go? I think, again, that might have been a pit lane retirement. Not 100% sure, but I can't see the car out on track. A phantom lap number 31 he's on now, gap round about the 7-second mark, so he's managed to maintain that over the last lap. Gap between Krudor and Kurznikov again round about the 7-second mark. Hanslbua 13 seconds further back. Does look like he's just settling in for 4th place at the moment. Obviously with taking another 8-9 laps on there, his tyres are going to be screaming by the end of this race. Okay, so Dr. Scenic is now closing down Havoc, hand over fist. We'll see if he is able to make a move at all. We've got 2 cars that are up the back sides of the car in front. So we've got Havoc in 6th with Dr. Scenic right behind him. Then just right at the back, we've got Chef JB and Skipper. But they have been nose to tail for lap after lap after lap. Havoc does seem to be struggling a little bit more than anybody else. Jump on board with Dr. Scenic just to see if he goes for a move up here. Havoc is struggling with those tyres, obviously getting no heat into them at all, losing quite a bit of grip. Nerdy only a couple of seconds back from this battle as well, so I'm sure he'd like to put some pressure on and see if these two could potentially make a mistake, and he could gain himself a couple of positions up into 6th place. I don't think he would be looking at progressing any further than that today because of the time differences, but I think he would take a 6th place under the circumstances. But currently in 8th, needs to see what happens with the two in front. But he's closing that gap down. I do think Dr. Scenic may go for a lunge soon. He looked very, very impatient behind Havoc. Obviously knows that he has a lot more pace in the car. But we shall see. But this is the only couple of close battles at the moment. And obviously Skipper still stuck behind Chef. At the front, Prize now stretching that lead back out to 8.5 seconds. So it looks like Kurzikov may have just taken a little bit too much life out of his tyres. Cracks picking up a 3-second time penalty there as well. So let's have a quick look at the penalties whilst we are just looking at the final section here. So Kurzikov with the 3 seconds, but that's not going to affect his position with Crudor 7 seconds behind him. MBB 6 seconds again, that's not going to affect him. Neither is Havoc 6 seconds on his position. The Frax is likely to drop a couple of positions, I think. Looking at it, it's certainly going to drop out of the points, promoting Beldy and Composite into the points. But still 5 laps to go, including the one that we're on, so anything can happen between now and then. Beldy's tyres must be screaming by now. I think 23, 24 lap old. 25 laps. Okay, so Dr. Scenic still all over the back of Havoc. So he's been getting closer and closer and closer, but just can't get close enough to make that move. Beldy picking up a 3-second time penalty there. So it looks like it could be a good day for Alfa Romeo today, taking home 25 points potentially for the victory. And Dr. Scenic bringing it home in 7th place as well. So some good points there. The Mercedes boys obviously in 5th and 6th as well. Nerdy has indeed. Baldy has now pitted for the soft, so he'll be looking at going for a fastest lap attempt, but obviously it's not going to count unless he gets his way into the top 10. Nerdy getting a little bit out of shape there. He's lost himself about 9/10. That can so often happen. You're getting in a good rhythm and then you close up on the car in front and all of a sudden you're breaking points and everything can be affected, obviously, as well as the dirty air, so need to take that into account. But Nerdy now 1.8 seconds back. going to drop back to Baldy because I'm wondering if we might actually get to see an overtake in this race. Obviously him on the hards and Chef in front of him on the very old tyres, mediums. So should get a good drive here. Can he get on the throttle? He can do. And cuts the corner there. Okay, should really give that position back. Doesn't look like he's going to though, because it's going to interfere with his fastest lap. But yeah, should have given that position back. Obviously making the overtake off track by cutting the chicane slightly is a no-no. But Price Phantom, now coming round onto his penultimate lap of the race, has been absolutely fantastic today. I'll be honest, I'll give him his due. I think the lad has struggled ever so slightly this season, but he's getting better and better and better. Obviously with a pole and a race win in the sprint last time out at Imola, and now looking at bringing his Alfa Romeo home on the top step at Monaco. So a big improvement from him. Excuse me, a little sneezing fit there. So we are right on to the swimming pool section for the penultimate time for the Phantom. Here he comes to start his last lap of the race. Crudor now 20 seconds further back. Did Kurznikov come into? Kurznikov must have had an incident. I'm missing everything today. I do apologise. But Kurznikov must have had an incident and he is now being closed down. So Hanslbua could still get himself onto the podium. In fact, he will do. Excuse me. Because of the penalties. 3 seconds. So needs to keep within that 3 second window and doesn't actually need to make the overtake. But I think Kurznikov's just let him past anyway. And just keep an eye on this battle here as well. Obviously they've still got another lap to go, so it could be interesting as to who is going to get 6th place. But at the front, Phantom bringing it home. 2 corners left, my friend, and you have taken a well and truly deserved victory with your Ayrton Senna crash helmet on. Congratulations to Price Phantom, absolutely dominant today. Fantastic pole position, total command throughout the race. It's just been faultless from you. Crudor bringing it home in 2nd place. Then 3rd will be Hanslbua. Mighty Frax crossing the line as well in 9th place, obviously a lap down. But Hans will come home and still take a podium after everything that happened to him. MBB coming home for 4th place, so a good result for him. Kurznikov has been really struggling. I wonder if he's out of fuel. I think he's out of fuel. Ay. Mind you, he had a big enough gap anyway, so Havoc Connor will come home in 6th with Dr. Scenic just behind him and Nerdy just behind him. And that brings to the end the Monaco Grand Prix, Season 5, Division 5, round number 6. Mighty Frax getting driver of the day by the computer, coming home in 8th place. after starting in 15th. So a big improvement on positions there. Oh, here we have Prize Phantom coming out to his adoring fans, having a little dance there and soaking up the atmosphere. But many congratulations to him. As I say, it's been absolute domination by him today. I know with Driver of the Day, we try to look at someone who has done something different throughout a race weekend, but I'll be honest with you, I cannot look any further than Prize Phantom. He is a dominant in qualifying and pretty much untouchable in the race. So many congratulations to him. He is my driver of the day. Okay, run through of the finishing positions. We have Prize Phantom, as I say, taking his victory. I think it's his first victory as well. So many congratulations. Crudel taking second, Hanslbua getting a podium in third, which will help his championship lead. MBB 06 in fourth. Then we have P20 Kurznikov in fifth, dropping down from second place. So I do wonder if he had fuel issues or something else. Dr. Scenic with a great sixth place. Nerdy recovering into seventh. Havoc in eighth. Ninth is the Mighty Frax, and running at the top 10 is Composite, getting a point for Ferrari. Then we have Ralph Albers in 11, BB Baldi in 12th, 13th, Chef JB, Skipper in 14th. Then the non-finishers of Jurek, Nuno Rod, and Kieran Trollface. So that brings to a close the Monaco Grand Prix. So season 5, round number 6, we're at a halfway mark, and we'll look forward to being back next week at the Italian Grand Prix in Monza. So not so many walls there, so hopefully it will be a bit more enjoyable for some people. But we are back on Tuesday night at 8 o'clock for Divisions 1 and Divisions 3, on a Wednesday night for Divisions 2 and 4, and I'll be back here and look forward to seeing you next Thursday at 8 o'clock for Division 5. So I think that wraps up everything here today. I hope you've enjoyed watching. Congratulations to the podium, and I'll look forward to seeing you all next week. Thank you for listening.